Hello, I'm the Media Wiz, because one art form wasn't enough, and today I'm going to be talking about Aliens in the Attic. I was going to do this as a short review, like the Gremlins 2 and Amazing Spider-Man 2 video, and for a while this was actually going to be for Nostalgia Kids show. We talked about this a long time ago, and ultimately we didn't end up doing it as a crossover. We just got swept up with other things. I think that was around the time he was doing Twilight and I was doing MLP Mondays, I think. Oh, this was also going to be a Blockbusters video at one point, but Adam ended up shifting it over to me, so thanks, Adam. But, so anyway, yeah, Aliens in the Attic. It's from the same guy who directed The Honeymooners with Cedric the Entertainer, which I never saw, but I heard it wasn't very good. And he also directed Judy Moody and the Not Bummer Summer, which the only reason that exists is because, hey, Diary of a Wimpy Kid was popular at the time, so we can do this with another popular series of kids' books. And yeah, unlike Diary of a Wimpy Kid, that did not get any sequels. But as for Aliens in the Attic, it's fine. It's a very okay family movie from like the mid to late 2000s. Family goes up to the cabin for 4th of July weekend because the main kid, Tom, is spending too much time on his computer. He's at one point trying to change his school grades, and his parents are pissed off about that. So they're like, you know, we're getting you kids away from technology. We're going to go and rough it out in the woods for 4th of July. We're going to go fishing. And he doesn't like that. And they also bring along his younger sister, who's the token cute kid for the movie. You know, just like I said with Planet 51, there's always got to be the token young kid who says occasionally funny things. And they also have his older sister, who's played by Ashley Tisdale, and she gives a way better performance here than she does in High School Musical. That's pretty obvious, because they actually have her acting like a real person and not just stereotypical catty, bitchy high school girl who thinks she's all that in a bag of chips. Thankfully, they have her do more than just that. Also, they've got the cousins who are kind of instigators, and I will say this, Andy Richter as the uncle, he was pretty funny, because he just played up the whole parent who just lets their kids do whatever they want and just not give a crap. And Kevin Nealon, who plays Tom's dad, he actually has a pretty funny line. He's like, "Good parenting, Nate. Good parenting." Like, very sarcastic. That was actually funny. So once they get to the cabin, Tom clearly just doesn't like it there. And, Ashley Tisdale's boyfriend, who is a douche, and they make it that he's even lying about his age to the parents. So, yeah, he's a lying douche, and he cares all about his car, and, you know, he's the kind of guy that wears, like, a pink polo shirt with, like, khaki dockers, and he has the collar, like, all up, and, yeah, they just, like, establish him as being just a very arrogant dick. And Tom doesn't like him at first, and so him and the oldest of the cousins, Jake, they decide to go and shoot paintballs while him and his sister are out by the pool. But then a storm starts a-brewing, and the TV starts getting all messed up, so as punishment, they make Tom go up and fix it, but then Ricky, the douchebag boyfriend, says that he'll go help him, but he reveals his true colors, reveals that he's lying about his age, what have you, and forces Tom to go fix it himself, all alone. And then Jake shows up, and then here's where the aliens are revealed, and of course, the aliens, they're like knee-high little creatures, and their plan is, of course, to take over the world. As for the CG on the aliens, I mean, it's fine. It's not, like, groundbreaking, but you could certainly do far worse when trying to integrate live action with CG. But they look fine. They give all the aliens, like, unique personalities. You've got the leader one, you've got the feisty female one, you got the meathead jock type, and the weakling who eventually becomes the friend with the humans, and he decides he's going to help the humans fight back against the upcoming alien invasion. From there, it becomes a battle of, you know, gotta keep the aliens in the attic, gotta make sure that they don't get out. They also establish that the aliens have these little plugs that get shot into the back of people's necks that can control them. All throughout the movie, it's set up that none of the kids are going to be affected by the mind control plugs, because apparently it only works on those who are older and more mature, which is why it works on Ricky. Oh, I love this. This has to be in like almost any family-oriented piece of media, where you have to establish that some of the kids play video games a lot, and then, like, here, or say it's a movie where there's, like, a giant robot involved, and the villain controls them with a little controller, they have to make video game references. They kind of do that in this movie. There's a point where they turn off gravity with, like, a gravity bomb, and that part was actually kind of cool. But they have this line where the two gaming twins, they go floating in the air, and it's like, whoa, they turned off the gravity. It's like Halo. And then they're like, no, this is real life, man. It's like the Wii. And I'm like, wow, that's the first time I think I've ever heard someone put the Wii over Halo. They end up befriending the weakling alien of the group, who's played by Josh Peck. I had to find that out. That thing was voiced by Josh Peck. And of course, he's good at building stuff, so he can help them build weaponry to help defend themselves against the aliens. And from there, it's a constant battle of like, the aliens are in the vents, so they turn up the heat. And then the parents are like, why are you turning the heat on and off all the time? They end up tagging the dickhead boyfriend with one of the mind control plugs, and they end up getting control of the controller that they were using. And all throughout, they're constantly like using it to make the boyfriend look like an ass. Like they make him spin around and like crack his back. The grandmother who was brought along to the cabin, played by Doris Roberts, she gets tagged by the aliens with the mind control plugs, so now they have an old lady under their control. And oh, you got what's his name? Tim Meadows as a police officer who, you know, the kids, when they first discover the aliens, they call him up, they're like, yeah, there's aliens down here, and of course he thinks it's a prank, but then later he ends up going down to see what all the fuss was about, and he ends up just, like, the parents invite him over for, like, 4th of July dinner. They're like, yeah, come on, we'll have tons of food, it'll be fun. And he just, like, hangs out with them from there on. It's like, okay. Although I will say this, I mean, Tim Meadows, he's one of, again, all throughout this movie, you have people saying some funny stuff here and there, and Tim Meadows is one of them. He's like Andy Richter. He gets, like, he'll occasionally say something that's actually pretty funny. Fast forward a little bit, the reason the aliens are trying to get to the basement of the house is because there's a thing buried below the house that is a device that they planted there or fell to Earth a long time ago, and it'll be used to summon an armada to bring on the invasion. And, the beams that it shoots out will simulate, of course, since it's 4th of July weekend, it has to simulate fireworks, so no one will be none the wiser. They won't suspect it. After an actually admittedly pretty impressively choreographed fight scene, again, nothing special, but I mean, it had decent choreography, where it's mind-controlled Ricky versus the mind-controlled Nana from Everybody Loves Raymond. They end up getting their mind control plugs knocked out, but it's too late because, oh, the aliens have gotten to the basement and the kids are grounded because of all the mess that they found. And it's one of those movies where every time the kids tell the truth, everyone thinks they're crazy. And the kids are grounded because of all the mess, but then they're like, no, we gotta protect Earth. We're gonna stand up and fight. So then they go out, they use Coke with Mentos as like weapons. And they end up knocking out each of the aliens. Oh, and the device is not just used to summon an armada, but it also is like a size ray, and it ends up making the leader gigantic. And they end up having this big battle, make the meathead alien and the leader alien, who ends up getting hit with the mind control plugs so that the kids can control him. They end up defeating both of them. They get shrunken back down. Josh Peck alien he tells the armada that they've been defeated and to retreat. The aliens, they all go back. Feisty female alien and the meathead alien, they retreat. And the leader, you think, is just kind of destroyed when the machine just kind of like implodes on itself. And Josh Peck alien gets in his little ship and he flies home because, oh, he has a family back on his planet. And then the movie ends with everyone closer together. Oh, everyone's enjoying fishing together. Good old family time. And then, uh-oh, the evil alien leader, he's like in like he's like near trash or something, and then he ends up getting taken away by an eagle or something. So presumably he's eaten. I guess that's what that's implying. It's like, darn, he's still alive. But nah, I guess he's not much of a threat now because he's taken away by a giant bird. Oh, and right before the credits, there's an ending gag where Ashley Tisdale and her brother use the mind control plug on Ricky to make himself look like an ass in front of this girl he's trying to ask out, because he ends up leaving Ashley Tisdale after the whole big fight scene. They make him do stupid stuff like spin around like a ballerina, eat flowers. There's a kick to the groin shot in there. He gives himself a wedgie. But yeah, so the movie ends with Ricky making an ass of himself, and haha, good laughs. So yeah, that's like I said, the thing with this movie is that all throughout there is stuff that did catch me off guard and I did think was funny. some cliche family elements. For a family movie, it's harmless. There's nothing particularly great about it, but at the same time, there's nothing about this movie that makes it insufferable. There's nothing about it that's just god-awful. It's just fine. Everything about this movie is just okay. The CG is okay, the jokes are okay. Compared to another thing involving aliens that I reviewed, Planet 51, it's way better than that, because Planet 51 showed like no signs of like trying when it came to the writing. Here, there was like at least some effort, and you did have people saying occasionally funny things. Again, people like Tim Meadows and Andy Richter. It's not the worst. I've sat through way worse family movies, like, I mean, Spy Kids 4, Shark Boy and Lava Girl, a lot of these, the really try-hard ones that really failed, like Aladdin and the Adventure of All Time, which was just, it was laughably bad, but as a family movie, like, I wouldn't recommend it. But then you got movies like this where it's totally serviceable. It's fine. It's the parents probably won't mind it. The kids are definitely going to like it. And the thing is, on the DVD, it seems like they had some more stuff for it, because in the DVD they had this like little animated comic book thing that shows off the alien homeworld and how they were sent to Earth for this mission and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, you know what? Clearly they put a little bit of effort into this, I guess. But as it stands, it's just a fine little family movie. Again, nothing groundbreaking. And, oh, the big thing I was thinking of all throughout was, if this was made in the 80s, it probably would have been a little bit darker, and I think that actually probably would have helped it a little bit. Like, look at a movie like Gremlins. That's what it kept reminding me of. In Gremlins, it was clearly a PG film that had tons of balls. Like, there was lots of, like, really ballsy, hardcore, just graphic stuff in that movie, and it's still awesome. And not to say that this movie should have had a scene where there's an alien in a blender that gets hacked up, but I mean, if this movie was a little bit more like Gremlins and had like a few like kind of scary moments, it probably would have been a little bit better and a little bit more memorable. Maybe I'll do a video on that Judy Moody movie to see how it compares to that, because that was the other family movie that guy directed. So, we'll see someday. Maybe that'll be a MediaWiz review or vlog in the future. As for now, upcoming MediaWiz stuff, I have a board game review, so look forward to that. It's going to be on VCR Golf. So look forward to some of that. Until then, I'm the MediaWiz, because One Art Forum wasn't enough.